Oh, it's so warm. Oh, it's so warm. Why am I filming? Anyway.
Stop being so boring.
Overhead.
Next question.
Hello fellow aliens. Today I'm going to give you a bit of a tutorial tip video. It's just literally an idea that I was having a conversation with one of the girls at work the other day, and she had the idea of getting herself some ripped jeans for the summer. And today is very warm, it's like 26, which in Brighton's about the start of the summer. It's like 26 degrees C. I have no idea what that would be in Fahrenheit for anyone who uses Fahrenheit. Anyway, the conversation went something along the lines of, I want some skinny jeans that have got rips in them and are a bit distressed. Where do I go in the high street to get them? And I just sort of looked at them and went, why pay the stupid amount of money that you have to pay to get them in a high street shop like Topshop, Zara, Next, whoever else does them, when you could do it yourself, and also then that way you can customize it yourself so you can have it however ripped you want. And also it just means that, you know, you're saving money, because I can do it the way that I'm going to show you. I can do these jeans for about £12–13. What we've got is you've got a pair of black skinny jeans. I get these from Primark because they stretch, and I've still got my rugby thighs from all my years of rugby. So me trying to fit into anything sort of skinny in most places, unless it's stretch, I struggle because I've got decent sized thighs. So that's the first thing. So you need a black pair of skinny jeans or whatever. If you want to have blue, you can have blue. It doesn't really matter what the jean is. But I get mine from Primark. I don't know if you're in another country, you're having to find your own version of Primark. I don't know if you're in America, like Walmart maybe. I have no idea what you guys have got over there that's sort of like budget clothing. Because Primark's, I don't know, I assume you have Primark in America. Maybe you do. Or you have your own version of it at least. Second thing you need a knife, or you need some scissors, or you need something just to cut it with. I'm using my knife because I like using my my sort of Swiss Army knife, just purely because, I don't know, it feels a bit nicer, but you can do it with scissors. And then the third thing that is probably the thing that I'd say you need most, apart from the fact you need the jeans, because otherwise you're doing nothing. The idea of using something to sort of distress the edges. But I use this stuff, and it's from Poundland, so you'll probably have this in a dollar store if you're in the US or Euro equivalent, but you get some of this stuff. Sandpaper. Now, in the Poundlands here, they come in a pack of 3, so you can get 3 of these, and it's just a little like piece of sort of foam, like bendy rubber, but it's sandpaper. Once you've cut the holes that you want, you distress them with this, so it sort of pulls the fibres out, and you can, honestly, you could probably use a sewing needle or something like pin-like like that as well, or like just even like a pull pin from a corkboard, you know, something like that. That'd do the trick, just to sort of like just unhem the edges, I guess, and sort of just pull them out. But yeah, that's all you'd need really. You just need those 3 things. Let's get cracking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the knees of that one, and then I'm going to show you something that I did before, like a sort of Blue Peter. Here's one I made earlier, and it's sort of one that I did a while ago, but it's a lot more sort of extreme in terms of the amount of stuff done. But it's just the same thing. You just repeat the steps over and over and over again. Okay, so your first step is to probably just sort of put the jeans on, wear them for a little bit, especially with me, because I'm quite short. I'm only like 5'4", but this is the shortest pair of jeans you can get, which is a 30 leg, which means it's inside, I think it's on the 30 on the inside of the leg. So what I'd say is to wear them for a few minutes, sort of just, you know, move your legs around them or whatever. Let them sit where they're going to naturally sit in terms of on your hips, and on terms of like how much they bunch up at the bottom, because mine like bunch up a little bit at the bottom. So once you've got them to that sort of stage, then you need to mark onto your knee, obviously with something. I mean, I'm going to use a silver Sharpie, but you just mark onto the knee where you're going to cut them, because otherwise, if you do it when you just do it on the table and you mark them and you take a guess, I've done that before, and you end up with a knee hole that's like down here. Okay, silver Sharpie. Where do I want these? All right, now something that I sometimes use is use one of these tape measure things. Then that way, when you hold it across your leg, the line is straight. So when you make the cut, it'll be straight along the line. So now the line's marked on. I don't know if you'll be able to see that from there. The line's now marked on. So, got to take these off, put them on the table, and get ready to start cutting and start distressing the hems. Okay, now we've got them on the table. One thing to do, bring the bottoms out, line them up, and then make sure the lines on the knees are at the same level as well. Because perspective, sometimes when you're looking down at them, you might draw them a little bit lower than the other. even though you're trying to hit the middle of both your knees, you might get it a little bit wrong. So now what I like to do, and this is just a personal preference thing really, where the line is, sort of go up thumbnail, about 1 centimetre maybe, 1 centimetre maybe just underneath it, above it, and then the same below it, in the middle point. So you're going to go about to here. And the reason for this, when I made, like, once I've made the first line, I usually get scissors and cut along that arc, so sort of join it up like a half circle. And that is purely just to sort of give show a bit more knee, to put it crudely. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a piece of card, stick it inside the leg and just put it underneath, so then that way I'm not cutting it all the way through. Yes, I know using scissors would negate that, but meh. This is a piece of a popcorn bucket that I brought home from the cinema last night after seeing Deadpool 2. Opinion on the film? Yeah, it was quite good. I liked it. The post-credit stuff was quite an enjoyment, tying up a few loose ends. And in terms of just the story itself's alright. I'm curious as to if they'll make a third, purely because it was good, but I don't know if a third might not run out of material. I don't know. I don't know. I'm always a bit. Whenever a second film does well, people always jump to the conclusion that they need a third, when they may not need a third. It might be just good as two. However, on that point, the Hellboy remake they're now about to do, no, just make a third one with Ron Perlman, finish it as a trilogy. Guillermo del Toro wants it, Perlman wants it, fans want it. Someone finance it, for the love of God. We're in. In honesty, something you may as well do while you're in Poundland getting sandpaper blocks. May as well just pick yourself up one of them Stanley knife sets they have in there, if you don't have a knife yourself. Or like I said, just use scissors, I'm just being pedantic. Also with a knife, you can start to fray those edges. A scissor's obviously meant to cut clean, whereas a knife, if it's like this one and it's been not really well looked after, it will just fray the ends, or start to at least. So when you actually come to distress them with the sandpaper, well, your job's already done. I mean, the distressing bit doesn't really apply much if you're going to do what I do, which is cut the crescent out. And I've had a pair of jeans before in the past and I didn't cut the crescent out and they look fine. I just have, I don't know, I just prefer the look of it. Okay, that's that bit done. Okay, so if you wanted to leave it with a single slit and don't want to bother doing the crescent stuff, skip to the time code that I'm going to put here, in massive letters here, massive numbers at least, and then go to that, because then that's when we start using this. I mean, it's literally just a case of just taking the edge and just sort of like pulling it. You can do this with a cheese grater as well, I found. The very knobbly, tiny hole side of a cheese grater, but then you might find pieces of denim in your cheese when you next have spaghetti bolognese. Right, so then cutting with it, it's just a tip I guess when you're making this. If you make a jagged edge like that, I'll just purposely make one, there you go. Make a jagged edge like that, doesn't matter, all part of it, it's all sort of why it's nice to make your own, because even though there's a little imperfection like that, because I've just made it, where it's not straight, doesn't matter, because it's my jeans, and if anything, it will look a little bit rougher, so that's the point of it, isn't it? However, this one is turning out a little bit more scruffier, but no problem with that. On the topic, however, of High Street, did some Googling between shooting the first couple of bits and this bit. There's a black pair in Next for £28. The usual sort of ones in Topshop are 40, about 30 to 40 in River Island. And if you go on Top Man again, lowest they've got is 30. Average there, between men's and ladies at least, of about maybe, what, £35, let's say as an average. And I've done this for, between about 12 and 15, depending on how, because the more you use these, the less bite they're going to have when you're tugging the edges. So if you want to have a fresh sort of one on every single hole, just to make it really rough, then you can buy a couple of packs, and then that's like, what, 6 blocks for £2, because 3 a pack. That's fine. Compared to, between 30 and 50 really, in most places, which is just stupid. And also as well, if you wanted to, I've not tried yet actually, if you want to just, instead of cutting it, and you want it just as you'd find it with like some shops have, where the strings are all still attached, but you can still sort of see the leg through it, but it's not a hole like this, it's just like all the threads have gone. Using the sanding block, or even like I said earlier with the cheese grater, you just sit there and just work at it. Your arm will go numb, But you just work, it's just, you're essentially sanding it to the point where some of the fibres break, and it breaks just enough so you can see the leg. That's another idea you could do, I guess. Right, so now we're going to get onto this bit. But what I think I'm going to do first, because these are still quite obviously clean edges, I'm going to get a pin, dig out a little bit of this. Just one off my corkboard. Take it along the edges, dig it in, and then just sort of pull it towards the opening. And then what you might have is like what I've just had there, which I doubt you'll be able to see from up there, but it sort of come out as a single string connecting it from here to here. What we can do later is we can snip that and then I'll add to it, or the sandpaper will do that for us. It will just rough it up to the point where it just won't hold together anymore. Okay, now that we've picked all that, now we use this. Also, yes, I realise I'm not in skinny jeans right now. It's too warm, I'm wearing my gym shorts. And I'm usually never caught dead in shorts, however, these are my gym shorts, so exception to the rule. But that's just a couple of minutes of, you know, sandpapering. I'll probably just sit and watch something on YouTube or whatever and have this in my lap and just sort of just keep going at it and just keep, you know, just distressing it and just keep going over and over and over it and just really, like, frame out the edges. Now, here's for the blue Peter, here's one I made earlier sort of thing. These are my Here I Made Earlier ones. Now, you can see these are a lot more ripped up. These are the ones that are, you know, my Here I Made Earlier ones. These I just sat for absolutely ages. I have no idea how long, but I just sort of sat with my laptop, sat working getting the little sandpaper block and just going over and over and over and just really just sort of pinning it, keep like tacking it with pins and just sort of pulling them out. And then what you can do, I don't know, I've never tried this, but I assume it would work the same principle. If you've got access to a tumble dryer, stick it in that and stick it on high, and I'm assuming that would fray all the edges, that would like fray the edges a bit. But yeah, so if you, I mean, I'll probably end up wearing these at some point. I'm not going to now. It's too warm. I need to cool down. I've walked about 2.5 miles in the sun wearing full leg cover, like charcoal plate jeans. Probably wear them eventually on my Instagram. There'll be a selfie or something, you know me. My Instagram handle will be down in the description, along with Twitter, the Facebook page, all that, you know, nonsense. But it will be down there, and then you'll see these eventually. And probably the ones that I've from today, those ones, I'm just going to sit with Mighty Jingles or something like that on the laptop and work at them a little bit more and just keep fraying the edges and just getting it, you know, even more battered. Okay, so that's how I rip my jeans. They'll be, like I said, they'll be on Instagram eventually, both pairs probably, and then I'm going to get a stonewashy sort of colour ones. I'm just going to do a single one through the knee for those, because that'd be alright. An idea as well that I've seen some of my mates do. One of the guys of Gutterflower does it. I'll put them in the description as well. But it's a grunge band too, I know. But the lead singer Eli, he wears well, in the winter he wore his jeans, like he just has a blue pair of, like, you know, straight legs. He wore his grey long johns underneath him, and it looked really cool. So you can do that in the winter if you wanted to. Then that way you're not having to buy one set of jeans for summer, one set of jeans for winter. Anyway, I will catch you guys in the next video. There'll be bass covers coming up on the music channel eventually. I started learning loads of bits and pieces, and then work being a absolute nightmare. So that's eventually happening. I think after the 10 that I said about in the last video, I'm probably just gonna make them as and when, because I'm just sort of, I've realised that every time I try and stick myself to a list and do like a set list and I sort of plan it out, I end up looking at a couple of songs ahead and going, oh, I don't want to do that one, I'll save that one for later. I'd rather just sort of go, okay, what one do I want to learn this week, and then I'll record it, learn it, and whatever. But if you can't wait to sort of, you know, watch me play the instrument, they're on my Instagram, like usually quite a few videos of me playing various songs. I think yesterday I put up a very sort of a short video of me playing Wild Side by Motley Crue, and Not the American Average the other day. Like, there's a mixture of guitar and bass, and then eventually when I actually start learning to play my saxophone, that'll probably go on there as well, because why the hell not? Okay, so I'm going to stop because otherwise I'm going to ramble on forever. So anyway, I will catch you guys in the next one, and I will see you on the mothership.